So what is up, guys? Son of the Savage back, and man, this is a series I am always looking forward to making. This is the NFL Week 1 predictions of the 2020 season. Don't forget, we're going through 18 straight weeks of this. Got weeks 1 through 17. Then I'll be doing playoff predictions. Probably after every Saints game, I'm probably going to do a recap. But yeah, no, that's what you're going to be expecting this year. And then, of course, after I make my playoff predictions, I'll do like a prop bet for the Super Bowl. But anyways, that is basically what this NFL season is going to look like. Probably going to mix in a couple of shooter stories. Now, you may notice I am in my usual filming location that I do, but that's just because like I got a computer behind me, just so I can read stats off it a lot easier. Because like currently we're getting a new desk in my room, so once I'm able to get stats off there, I'm probably going to be switching to go back up there. But for now, we're just going to be filming prediction videos down here. And now we got 16 predictions to get to. And without further ado, let's get this video started. And now you have our very first matchup of the 2019 NFL season between the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Texans, I don't know what the hell to say about you. Like this last season, you beat the Bills in the AFC wildcard game. You go into Arrowhead for the divisional game. Go up 24-0, blow that in 10 minutes, and lose the game 51-31. So let's look at the positives. Deshaun Watson, that's like your only positive right now. Sure, you got you got some decent running backs in Duke Johnson and David Johnson. Your receivers, you got guys like Will Fuller, Kenny Stills, Brandon Cooks, but honestly, you're missing D-Hop, and that was huge. Like, why would you trade DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson and a second rounder? And then of course you trade for Brandon Cooks and sign Randall Cobb, but they don't replace Hopkins. Heck, that's just costing you more money. Like, Hopkins and Cooks basically have like the same contract, but you also chose to pull in David Johnson and his expensive contract. Now, no doubt Johnson's okay, but I wouldn't be giving up Hopkins and a second rounder and I wouldn't want that for Hopkins. But anyways, but also another big concerning point to me is your defense, because literally it's just J.J. Watt and that's it. Like, once J.J. Watt goes down, your defense is just completely flat. And then you got the Chiefs, reigning Super Bowl 54 champions. Positives, Patrick Mahomes. My God, he is a living legend. Won his first Super Bowl, made 3 comebacks, came back from a 24-point deficit against the Texans, 10-point against the Titans, and 10-point against the 49ers. And you quite possibly have the fastest offense in the league in Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, but you also got the big man in Travis Kelce. Now, one of the big things that's not happening for you is that Damian Williams, he did opt out of the season, but he's nicely filled in with Clyde Edwards-Helaire out of LSU with your first-round pick, so he'll fill Damian Williams' spot nicely now. Any weaknesses I see, it's kind of the defense, It's kind of inconsistent. Like, there's games where it's really good, and then there's games where it's really bad. So, going into this match, Chiefs are favored by 9.5 to win, and I'm saying it, Chiefs win, but I'm only going to say they win by 7. So, Chiefs win, but don't cover the spread. And then you have our very next match between the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. Starting off with the Seahawks, last year you went to the NFC divisional round and just came up short to the Packers. Positives, Russell Wilson. Even though he doesn't have an MVP season in his belt yet, but it could be coming very soon. One of the best, ranked second in players in 2019. One of the best players in the NFL right now. Any other good things you got? You got Chris Carson as your running back. Rashad Penny, he's pretty good. You got some good receivers in Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. You did pick up Greg Olsen, which not too great. Got guys like Will Dissly, Luke Wilson, And, of course, Josh Norman you got back, and he's going to get reinstated. So, any weaknesses I see, it's kind of the defense, the defense did succumb to a lot of injuries last year, but you chose to fix that safety issue by trading 2 first-round picks for Jets safety Jamal Adams. Now, he is going to be a game changer for you guys, and he's definitely going to be a big part in turning around that defense. Also got to mention Bobby Wagner, one of the best Seahawks defensive player. And then you got the Falcons. Now, last year, you went 7-9, but you were a bit of a disappointment. You start off the season 1-8, and then finish the season off 6-1. things got to change around here, and I feel like if you don't make the playoffs this year, or if you do make the playoffs but choke, Dan Quinn's out of a job. But anyways, positives, you got Matt Ryan. I can't shred that guy. He's amazing. Sure, he did take a little bit of a step back last year, but of course, he had a very limited rushing game. Devontae Freeman, he's gone, but coming in is Todd Gurley, so definitely he's going to add like a better part to that rushing game. And then, you got Julio Jones, best receiver in the game. You got Calvin Ridley, he's a good number 2 guy. Now, you are without Austin Hooper this season, but you did bring in Hayden Hurst, so your offense is going to be okay. Biggest concerns is definitely that defense, because the last couple of years, when the big guys have succumbed to injuries, that's completely where the team just fell apart last year. So currently, the Seahawks are favored by 2 to win. I say, yeah, they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to start with the Cleveland Browns here, and may I just say that you might have been the biggest disappointment of last season. You had so many guys come in, many big-name guys, and you just faltered. Like, no words for that. Okay, so you got Baker Mayfield, ultimately he regressed last season. You're going to need him to turn it around. Nick Chubb, he's your top guy, but of course, he might not be getting as much production this year as he did last year because, Kareem Hunt's there. He's going to be there the whole season, so they're most likely going to be sharing the touches. And of course, you got guys like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. You did bring in Austin Hooper. But, your biggest weakness last year was Freddie Kitchens. Awful head coach. And honestly, definitely deserved to get the boot. Bringing in Kevin Stefanski. Hopefully he can help out your problems. Got Myles Garrett coming back from his suspension. So, honestly, you guys might be okay. But you're going right against the Ravens. Coming up against the MVP, Lamar Jackson. Definitely Ravens' biggest strength, their rushing game. Lamar Jackson just tore it up last year, had a season to remember. Mark Ingram did a pretty good job. You did draft J.K. Dobbins, so he's going to be a nice number 2 running back. Got Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, Willie Snead, Seth Roberts. You guys got a good team, but my only issue with you guys, well, your defense is great. One of the best secondaries, even though you did lose Earl Thomas because he was a bit of a head case. But honestly, when you have that kind of player, you got to get rid of him immediately. And they did do that. So locker room's definitely going to be getting better. But I just see a problem with your wide receivers. Yeah, Lamar, he loved running the ball. You guys were all ground and pound. Hollywood Brown, they just kind of split the carries. So honestly, all right, so Ravens are favored by 8.5 to win, and you know what? They win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next match between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Carolina Panthers. Saying Las Vegas Raiders is going to take some time to get used to because they were the Oakland Raiders. But anyways, so this year is going to be interesting. He went 8-8 last year, and this year is Derek Carr's last chance. Because, he did have a good season last year, but to the Raiders, they think he can do better, so they do bring in Marcus Mariota. Now, either that's for competition or to have him maybe be that kind of Taysom Hill kind of player. But it's going to be more for competition because if he falters this year, then Mariota is probably going to become the new starter. And so, other positives I see with you guys is definitely the rushing game with Josh Jacobs. Just completely blew it up last season. And then you got guys like Tyrell Williams, Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, who broke out last season. But you did bring in Jason Witten, which is kind of questionable. But you did also bring in Henry Ruggs from the draft. So I think he ran a 4.26 or a 4.28 40-yard dash. And that's freaking fast. I don't think people appreciate how fast that really is. Any weaknesses I see with you guys? Definitely gotta say it is that defense. You did bring in Corey Littleton, but is it going to be enough? Because your defense was just all over the place last year. And then the Panthers, last year you were just Christian McCaffrey. And that's it. He had the most rushing yards on the team last year, almost had the most receiving yards, but of course that was DJ Moore, who was also another good guy for you guys last year. You did bring in Robbie Anderson, got Curtis Samuel, but of course the big question for you guys is, can Teddy Bridgewater be your new option? Because he did sign to a 3-year deal worth about $63 million. And basically, he did well in New Orleans, but people could say he was just a product of the Sean Payton system. To be honest, I think it was a little bit of both. And any weaknesses, CP guys, it's that defense. Like, yes, you do have a lot of new rookies coming in, but losing Luke Kuechly definitely took a lot of steam out of you guys. So I don't see you guys having that great of a season this year. But this could be like maybe a step in the right direction. So the Raiders are favored by 3 to win, and I say, yeah, they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions. Starting off with the Bears, I don't know really what to say about you this season, because, last year, I was expecting you to do so much better than what you did, but of course, here's basically your season in a nutshell. Great defense, your offense was above average. You had guys like Dave Montgomery, Tariq Cohen, Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller. Like, sure, this year you did bring in like Jimmy Graham and just a lot of tight ends, but this year you should be good. Oh, wait, that's right. Mitch Trubisky's your quarterback, so all hope is lost. So who do you sign as a backup for competition? You sign Nick Foles, and he's more of a situational quarterback, but I'd rather have him over Trubisky, but Trubisky's starting, so that's not even a positive for the Bears. Like, this year, like, Trubisky, it's like make or break for him this year. And then the Detroit Lions, last year, you guys were such a disappointment. You had a decent start, then you got screwed over by the refs against the Packers in one game. Oh, and apparently you didn't recover from that. Matt Stafford, at the beginning of the season, he had a very good start, but of course he went down with injury. He, regressed due to injuries and then missed quite a bit of the season. You had Kerryon Johnson as your running back, but you guys just were like hospital team last year. You got Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones Jr., TJ Hawkinson. It's a solid team, but, like, of course, your biggest weakness is Matt Patricia and that defense. Like, your defense is awful. Matt Patricia is just a terrible, terrible head coach. I won't be surprised if he gets the axe this year. I really don't. And then you also have other guys like, other issues. Like, you try to, like, basically be like the exact same as the New England Patriots, but don't forget, people who leave the Belichick system tend to fail. And, you got DeAndre Swift at running back, and you did bring in Adrian Peterson. So that's going to be interesting to see this year. But anyways, Lions are favored by 3 to win, and of course I'm going to give them the victory. Lions win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Starting out with the New York Jets, really last year, this is how it went. Had a horrible start, but then just had such an easy schedule to coast off of to finish 7-9. Biggest weaknesses, well, your defense is practically gone. CJ Mosley opted out. Many of your big guys are gone, or they either opted out, and Jamal Adams got himself a one-way ticket to Seattle as he got traded. And you do got some first-round picks coming in. Now, your offense is kind of interesting. Sam Darnold is an okay quarterback, but, of course, you got Joe Flacco as your backup. Like, come on. Now, Darnold last year, of course, like I said about the Jets, because they coast off an easy schedule, he was able to pad his stats. So, not really that impressed. You had Le'Veon Bell last year as your running back. Now, I expected him to be a disappointment, and, of course, I was right. I was right about him. Your running backs, you did bring in Frank Gore, so what good is that? Your wide receivers, you got Jamison Crowder, you brought in Brashad Perriman and Chris Hogan. That's just a horrible trio. But you did draft Mekhi Becton, so that hopefully can help out Sam Darnold, just give him more time in the pocket. And then you got the Bills. Last year, biggest strength was that defense. Guys like Ed Oliver, Trey White, Micah Hyde, and Tremaine Edmonds, they were just the big part of that defense. The defense is still good as ever, especially also with drafting A.J. Epinesa. But the offense was very questionable. The rushing attack was good because, Josh Allen kind of relies a lot more on the ground because, his passing is such a liability. But this year, it's going to get better. He's got John Brown, Cole Beasley, but they did bring in Stephon Diggs, so that's going to help him a lot. But they also got, Dawson Knox, so that's not bad. And, they also got a very good running back in Devin Singletary. So, this year is the year for Buffalo. I think this is the year they overtake the AFC. I think they win the division this year. So Bills are favored by 6 to win currently, and yes, Bills will win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts. Starting off with the Colts last year, last year was kind of interesting for you. Once Andrew Luck retired, you were practically screwed, and you never fully recovered from that. But you didn't do too bad last season after all. Jacoby Brissett was okay, but that's really it. Like, he did okay last year, definitely not your big guy that you would have wanted, but wasn't too bad. So you decided to bring in Phillip Rivers. So, interesting choice. You got Marlon Mack, you got Jonathan Taylor. They're going to be running that running back duo. Got guys like Zach Pascal, T.Y. Hilton. So, it's not bad. Your defense did do a little bit of spending. So, honestly, I can expect the Colts to be better. Maybe Brissett wasn't the guy, but if Rivers can be the guy, then by all means, that could really end well for Indianapolis. And then the Jaguars, basically, you shredded your everyone is gone. Leonard Fournette's gone. Yannick Ngakoue's gone. Calais Campbell, everyone from the 2017 team is gone. Now you just have Gardner Minshew. And, you don't have Leonard Fournette. You got, Raquel Armstead. You still got DJ Chark. But, honestly, this next year's team's just going to be awful. You got, Jacksonville is right now in the tank for Tua. And, of course, no, not even tank for Tua. Tank for Trevor. That's what I meant. But, Doug Marrone is also another one of your big problems. So, honestly, you got to get rid of Doug Marrone because he's holding you back. I mean, you're basically starting from square one. So, got to pick a win at this one. Well, the Colts, they are favored to win by 7.5. I say they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our very next match between the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. Starting off with the Packers last year, I kind of came up with a bit of a thesis or kind of way to describe your season last year. And it was pretty much this. Never able to play a full 60-minute game. And for majority of the games you played last year, that was true. It was usually you either showed up in the first half, came out guns a-blazing, and then just completely checked out for the second half, or you showed up or you didn't show up at all at the beginning and then came back at the last minute. Starting out with Aaron Rodgers, had himself a good year last year, but, I feel like the Packers are going to start going to a running back by committee to start. I feel like it's going to be a run-first attack instead of having Rodgers throwing. So that's something he might not be too happy with. Aaron Jones had a great year last year. Devontae Adams still put up great numbers despite missing time. But your defense is a little bit questionable, but the wide receivers is your biggest weakness because you got, Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I just don't see it in you guys. Come on. Why didn't you take, a receiver? But instead you take Jordan Love and another running back. So, clearly, it's going to be a run first, and you're going to be moving on from Rodgers very soon. And then the Packers, and I mean the Vikings, but damn you Vikings. Take me out another year, just break my heart. It's a living after all. So starting off, Kirk Cousins had himself a decent year last year. But of course he was kind of carried by Dalvin Cook. But Cousins proved that he can be the guy in Minneapolis. But Dalvin Cook did a great job last year. Was a top rusher, but can he stay healthy is the big question. You had guys like Stephon Diggs who were main contributors, Adam Thielen, Kyle Rudolph. Now, but can Adam Thielen bounce back because he did miss a lot of games last year? So can he recover and have a great season now? Your defense is also amazing. Your front seven, yeah, you're set. You got the best safety duo. Cornerbacks, I'm a little bit concerned about, but other than that, your defense is legit. I am not lying. I cannot wait to see what happens with your defense. Vikings are favored by 3 to win, and I say yes, they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. Starting off with the Dolphins, last year was simple. Tank for Tua. Oh yeah, that didn't even happen because, of course, if you wanted to tank for Tua, you would have had to play Josh Rosen the whole season. But then, of course, you play Fitzpatrick, and he kind of ruined your tank. But you still got Tua, even though Burrow was the top guy that went because Tua got injured last year. So starting off, Fitzpatrick, not bad. Honestly, he's serviceable, but not the guy I want going forward now. Tua is the future of you guys, but is he going to even play this year? Is a question. I know they're going to go with Fitzpatrick at the beginning, and maybe as the year goes on, maybe Tua will come into the mix. You got an okay team, but your running backs are just there was no action out of you from the rushing game last year. But you did bring in Jordan Howard and Matt Breida, so that's going to be interesting. Your wide receivers, you got Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Patrick Williams, Allen Hurns, Albert Wilson. It's not too bad. Picked up a few guys like Kyle Van Noy and Byron Jones to solidify that defense. So, honestly, you guys could be okay. I'm not saying, everyone's, hyping up the Dolphins like crazy. I'm saying they're going, more moderate, an 8-8, showing that they're going to be going in the right direction. And then the Patriots, Never have I ever seen a team die so quickly, but still have people believe in them. So Tom Brady was your guy last year, but now Tom Brady is gone. So of course we thought Jarrett Stidham would be the guy in the future, but no, Cam Newton lingered around in free agency, and you brought him in. So Belichick is finally going to have that mobile quarterback, because he's been missing that for like at least 20 years. But anyways, in terms of your other guys, like, your offense is just flat. Like, sure, you got Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, and James White, a great running back trio. But then you got like Julian Edelman, like Philip Dorsett. Like, your receivers suck. You know, you don't have Gronk. I mean, you didn't have him last year, but he's with another team. But like, your offense is flat at best, and your defense is super suspect because you lost so many guys, either to free agency or they opted out. So really, your big guys that are left on defense are Stephon Gilmore and Devin McCourty and Jason McCourty. So honestly, can you guys take a step in the right direction this year? I don't know. Like, people are doubting you, but people are praising you like crazy. And like, but of course, Belichick's the master, so he's like the main point behind you guys. So who's going to win this game? So Patriots are favored by 6.5, and you know what? I'm going to say they lose this game to the Dolphins. Dolphins win. And now you have our final 1 o'clock matchup between the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles. Starting off with the Eagles, I don't know what last year I just wasn't sure what to think about you. Was Carson Wentz washed? Were you guys just like completely screwed? No. Carson Wentz is the man that you need, and you need to protect him at all costs. He's the reason why you guys made it to the playoffs last year. Now, yes, he is quite injury prone, so that is very, very scary, but you know, if he can stay healthy, he's the reason why you guys will be a good team. And, you know, when it comes to your running backs, you got Miles Sanders. Now, he is projected to be, like, breakout player of the year. I could see that happening. You know, got Boston Scott by his side. So with no Jordan Howard, but Boston Scott going to be his backup, Miles Sanders could take that big next step into last year. And in terms of your receivers, well, you lost quite a bit. Like, you had Alshon Jeffrey, who was just okay. Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz had the best tight end duo. The defense was just not that great last year. It was kind of inconsistent, but, you know, just inconsistent, basically. But, of course, you drafted Jalen Reagor, but he's injured, so that's not good. I know your offensive line is going to be weak this year, so Wentz is in some trouble. And you drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round, so that was... apparently they want him as, like, the Taysom Hill kind of guy, so... who knows what's going to happen. And the Washington football team. Now, they originally the Redskins, but that had to change. So, I also got to get used to that. So, the Washington football team, you suck. Basically, everything is super bad around you. Your defense is flat. So is your offense. You know, got Case Keenum, Dwayne Haskins, and Alex Smith, who's coming back, which is so nice. But I think I'm pretty sure Haskins gets the week 1 start. And in terms of your running backs, like you had Adrian Peterson, but he's no longer on the team. Darius Geis got arrested and turned himself in. So now you have like Antoine Gibson and Chris Thompson. And then you got guys like Terry McLaurin at wide receiver. So I don't even know what to think about you guys, but you guys are screwed this year. Yeah, you did get Chase Young, but other than that, you guys are just flat out awful. Yeah, you got Riverboat Ron Rivera coming in, but he's not saving your team. Now, right now, the Philadelphia Eagles are favored by 6 to win. They win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup, which is the first 4 o'clock matchup of the season between the LA Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Starting out with the Chargers, well, you know, last year was kind of weird because you guys had so many expectations put on you, but you completely faltered last year. Phillip Rivers, sure, he threw for 4,600 yards, but he had like 23 touchdowns and 20 picks. That's like twice as many as his children, because don't forget he has 9 children, so you multiply by 2, that's 18, yeah. Anyways, enough with the math. You know, you're going to have Tyrod Taylor as your starter this year, so I don't know. Like, I know you did draft Justin Herbert, but you guys are going to let him rest for this season, because, you know, got to make sure he develops. And yeah, basically, that's really that. But in terms of rushing, you know, you got rid of Melvin Gordon, but you got Austin Eckler last year. He was just an absolute beast. Sure, he was pretty limited on the ground, but he was amazing as like a receptions kind of running back. So he racked up those receptions. Got guys like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry. Like, this team could be pretty good. And, you know, your defense is also very, very strong. Sure, you're going to be without Derwin James for the season, but honestly, even without him, you guys are going to be fine. And then you got the Bengals. So last year, wow. Like, I expected the Dolphins to be at the bottom, but no, you guys were even worse. 2-14. Andy Dalton, just wasn't that great last year. So, of course, you decided to go with Ryan Finley. But, like, once you put Dalton back in as the starter, that's when you completely ruined a chance at 0-16. So, positives to this team, well, Joe Burrow came in, but was he carried by LSU, or was he the good player? So, I think it's a little bit of both. Joe Mixon last year, had a bit of a rough start to the season, but, rebounded very nicely. Got your receivers in Tyler Boyd, John Ross. Nah, John Ross isn't even, just had, one good game last year. But A.J. Green is coming back, so hopefully he will be good enough for you guys. And, honestly, your defense is just kind of sus. I don't really like it. It's just not a good defense. So, currently, the Chargers favored by 3. I say they win, but don't cover the spread. I say they only win by 1 point. And now you have our very next matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Starting off with the Cardinals, last year wasn't exactly your best year, but to me it kind of showed that you are going in a step in the right direction. Kyler Murray had a solid rookie year last year. I think he was Rookie of the Year. Kenyon Drake. He came in from Miami and he just broke out. You got rid of David Johnson, got rid of his contract. Your wide receivers are okay. Got Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, Andy Isabella. But honestly, the big man of your team right now is DeAndre Hopkins. Man, that is maybe the biggest steal. Only gave up a second round and David Johnson. That is the steal of the offseason. Now, this team, to me, is incredibly overrated. And it's only because, everyone's just, hyping up the offense, but we're forgetting that the defense isn't exactly the strong point to that team. The defense is just not that great. Now, of course, you drafted Isaiah Simmons. Now, will he be able to, take a big step next year? I don't know. I think he'll be okay now. I think the Cardinals will do well next year. Probably not make the playoffs, but definitely show that they're going a step in the right direction. 100%. And then you got the 49ers. You guys were so close to winning the Super Bowl last year, but unfortunately, it just didn't happen, and that's really rough, especially for my dad. But anyways, starting out with Jimmy Garoppolo. Man, he is going to be your guy. Now, sure, he does have a great running back trio, a great running back by committee to deal with guys like Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman. Sadly, no Matt Breida, but that's okay. But some issues I feel like you're facing is definitely injuries, because you're not going to have Deebo Samuel, and that's huge. You don't have Emmanuel Sanders. He's with the Saints. But now you got George Kittle, absolute the GOAT for tight ends, possibly him and Kelsey. Then you got Kyle Juszczyk, Marquise Goodwin. Your offense is going to be all right. Your defense is still pretty strong, especially with Nick Bosa, Richard Sherman. So honestly, I could still see you guys. I don't know. I don't think you're going to win the division this year, because I think the Seahawks are better, but I could still say you finish with a solid number 5 seed. So currently, the 49ers are favored by 7 to win. I say they win, but don't cover the spread. And now you have our final 4 o'clock matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and my boys in the New Orleans Saints. Starting out with the Buccaneers, well, basically last year, Jameis Winston, you guys, sure, you guys were one of the best offensive teams in the NFL, but Jameis Winston was part of the 30-30 club. 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. Yikes! That's not good. And he was ultimately the reason why you guys just were never able to take the next step. And also your rushing game was kind of not the greatest. Peyton Barber and Ronald Jones are not that great. But, of course, the big part of your team last year was the wide receivers, like Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. O.J. Howard had a decent year last year. And, you don't have Rashad Perriman, but you did bring in Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski and Leonard Fournette. So Fournette definitely is going to help out with the running backs. But Gronk, he was 2018, he was not the same player that he was. Was injured to hell and retired. Now, coming back, I don't know what to think. Is he going to be good? Probably not. And then Tom Brady, you really, everyone's, hyping up the Buccaneers. They are so freaking overrated now. Good thing is, I think their pass rush is pretty good. The secondary, not so great. But back to Brady. You guys, he's 43 years old, and he's not with Bill Belichick. Now that was definitely a big reason why he was such a success, but he's also a good quarterback. But 43 years old now, he will be with Bruce Arians. Now, he'll have a better squad around him, but a weaker head coach. But Bruce Arians is the quarterback's whisperer because he's worked with Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, and he single-handedly turned around Carson Palmer's career in Arizona. So if anyone can fix Brady, it's got to be Arians. And then the Saints. You fuckers break my heart every single year. Just the same thing. Slow start to the season, have some doubts, go on an incredible winning streak, become favorites, lose a match or two, have some doubts, finish the season strong, be Super Bowl favorites, and then just blow it in the playoffs. But let's talk about the positives. Drew Brees, he's coming back. Now, hopefully, this year's going to be interesting. Alvin Kamara, last year he definitely took a big step back, but he was dealing with injuries last year, so once he's fully healthy, he's a huge threat. Latavius Murray's a great number 2 back. Got Michael Thomas. You can't guard Mike. Going to have a breakout season. Got guys like Jared Cook, Traquan Smith. But a big addition is Emmanuel Sanders. Now, the defense is finally back. Got a great front seven with guys like Demario Davis, Cameron Jordan, Marcus Davenport. Now, the secondary is also not bad with Marshawn Lattimore, Janoris Jenkins, Marcus Williams, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and bringing in Malcolm Jenkins back. This team, the defense is always a bit of a liability, but, this could be a very good defense this year. I think we'll be, an above-average defensive team. So currently, the Saints are favored by 3.5 to win, and we win and cover the spread. Say we win by 10. Who Dat Nation? Gonna ride all the way to the Super Bowl. And now you have our very first Sunday Night Football matchup of the season between the LA Rams and the Dallas Cowboys. Starting off with the Cowboys. You guys maybe were one of the bigger disappointments of last year. Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper. Your offense was just insane. I think you were the best offense in the league last year. Oh wait, yeah, you went 8-8 and missed the playoffs. Now, goods and bads on the team. Ezekiel Elliott is just insane. Ezekiel Elliott just had an amazing year last year. Had Amari Cooper broke out last year. No, Amari Cooper was good. No, Michael Gallup broke out. He was a big part of that team. And you guys did add CeeDee Lamb. So that's going to make your offense even better. You got Blake Jarwin, so he's okay. Defense is not too bad. I mean, you are without Byron Jones, but still your defense is pretty good. But the biggest question will be with Dak Prescott. Now, last year, I completely dissect this guy because he just can't beat good teams. Look, to me, he's a stats patter. He racked up, a good chunk of his yards against the Washington football team and the New York Giants. He's basically guaranteed, 6 or 7 wins a season. Because, their division sucks, probably going to split a game with Philly, and split the series with Philly, and then just got some other low-life teams you play. I'm not convinced by you guys. You guys have to prove to me, Dak, you got to prove to me that you can step up and face the good competition. And when it comes to good competition, you just don't show up until it's too late to pad your stats. Proving my point. And, well, the Clapmaster's gone, known as Jason Garrett, and you're bringing in Mike McCarthy, so was he the problem in Green Bay, or is it Rodgers? I think it might have been a little bit of both, but McCarthy, be interesting to see this year. And then you got the LA Rams. Also, you were a huge disappointment last year. Jared Goff, just was not the same. He definitely regressed to, rookie form. Todd Gurley was banged up last year, but he was also under a garbage offensive line, so that didn't help his cause either. You had guys like Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Brandon Cooks, Gerald Everett. They were very good pass options, but of course you still got Aaron Donald on defense, paid the hell out of Jalen Ramsey, but biggest issue that you got this year going on, well, of course, cap hell came your way. So Gurley, he's gone, Corey Littleton's gone, Dante Fowler's gone. You lost, and Brandon Cooks is gone. You guys lost so many guys. So, this is definitely not going to be the year for you to win it all. I don't think this is going to be the year for you. So, currently, the Cowboys are favored by 2.5 to win the game, and I say they win and cover the spread. And now you have our very next matchup, which is the first Monday Night Football matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Giants. I'm going to start out with the Steelers here, so I don't know what the hell to say about you last year, because you had basically just middle of the road, you lost every starter to injuries, yet somehow were able to compile an 8-8 season. Mason Rudolph and Devlin Hodges just kind of split the load last year, but neither of them were like the reliable ones. So you got Big Ben back, but how good is he really going to be? Because he's 38 coming off major elbow surgery. Usually that doesn't end well for quarterbacks, but anyways, you got guys like James Conner. He's not too bad. Benny Snell Jr., Jalen Samuels, they're an okay running backs. James Washington, Deontay Johnson did a great job last year, as just like backups, filling in the big void. Juju Smith-Schuster definitely took a step down from last year, but he was dealing with injuries, so I'll give him a pass for that. But your defense is absolutely legit. Guys like Devin Bush, Joe Hayden, Mick Fitzpatrick, Cameron Hayward. But today we did get the sad news that Ryan Shazier is retired. But send your respect to him, because there was a chance that he wouldn't even walk again. It hurts to see Ryan Shazier go, but he was amazing. So congrats, Shazier, on a great career. So sorry it had to end so early. And then the New York Giants. Well, last year was not the greatest for you. So Eli Manning has finally retired. Daniel Jones, he's the new guy at quarterback. He did okay for himself. He had decent numbers last year, but he fumbled the ball a whole lot last year, so that cannot be happening. But, of course, other good things I see with you guys is, of course, Saquon Barkley. Just so good. Hopefully he can break out this year, because he did miss a few games last year due to injuries, so he did regress, but as usual for running backs, once they're fully healthy, they're unstoppable. Wide receivers and guys like Darius Slayton, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, and Evan Ingram, they're okay guys, but definitely not going to help you get over the top. You need that true number one wide receiver. And also your defense is kind of trash, and so is your O-line, so it's going to be interesting. So currently the Pittsburgh Steelers are favored by 6 to win. I say they win, but don't cover the spread, because I'm going to say Chris Boswell kicks a last-second field goal to win the game. And now you have our final matchup of Week 1 between the Denver Broncos and the Tennessee Titans. Starting off with the Broncos. So last year, this year it's kind of like Drew Lock is the new guy in town, and can he take you guys over the top? He only did get to start in 5 games last year, and he put up a good showing, so there's a lot to like about him. And so, of course, you got Phillip Lindsay as your running back, but of course you guys also chose to sign Melvin Gordon in free agency, which I don't think was a great idea, because you already have Lindsay, and he's good enough. So you got your wide receivers in Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Deshaun Hamilton, but of course you also did bring in Jerry Jeudy. So that's going to be pretty good. Your defense definitely lost a couple of guys, but still could be at a contender level for one of the top defenses in the league. And the Titans, wow, you guys went on a miracle run last year. Went 9-7, beat the Patriots in their home in the playoffs, then took out the number 1 seed in the Ravens, but fell to the Super Bowl champs and the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. But don't be too mad about last year, because, well, lots of the guys are back. Tannehill's back, but was he good, or was he kind of carried by Derrick Henry? That's what we're going to kind of find out this season. So I'm interested to see that. But Derrick Henry was your rushing leader last year. Was just an absolute bowling ball for the team. You had a couple of other guys like A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith, Corey Davis. So definitely you guys have an above average offense. Your defense is not too bad. I do like your defense quite a bit. So honestly, these two teams are kind of like sleeper teams for this season. So Titans are favored by 2 to win, but I'm going to say the Denver Broncos pull off the victory and win. All right, so just to finish it out, I'm going to be doing my predictions on seeding. So in the AFC, number 1 seed, I'm saying is going to the Ravens. No, it's not going to be close, but don't forget there's 7 teams. So number 2 seed, I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. They win the West. Number 3 seed, I'm going to give it to the Buffalo Bills. They'll win the AFC East. 4th seed, I'll give it to the Tennessee Titans. Going to be an interesting team to watch this year. 5 seed, that's going to be tough, but I'm going to give it to the Indianapolis Colts. 6 seed, I'll give it to the Denver Broncos. I definitely think they'll take a step in the right direction. And the number 7 seed, I'll give it to the Houston Texans. Yes, they did lose a few guys, but, Deshaun Watson will prove that he's amazing. And then in the NFC, number 1 seed, I'm giving it to the New Orleans Saints. Of course I would. They're my guys. I love them so much. Number 2 seed, I'm going to give to the Seattle Seahawks. 3 seed, I'll give to the Green Bay Packers. Number 4 seed, I will give to the Philadelphia Eagles. They'll, have a better season. 5 seed, I will give to the San Francisco 49ers. 6 seed, I'll give to the Dallas Cowboys. And the number 7 seed, I'm giving to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not buying into the hype of the Buccaneers as so many people are. Now onto the... And that is going to wrap up my video for today. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Don't forget, this is going to be a long grind that we're going to be doing for prediction videos. But anyways, there's going to be more to come. Make sure, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to my channel, comment down below what other kind of videos you want to see. Make sure to follow, and comment down below what else, who you think is going to, win the Super Bowl, who's going to be like the favorites, who you got winning the division, who you got winning this week. Anyways, also make sure to follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok @SuitableSavage. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Who Dat Nation is out, and let's go Saints.